listening to Range Minded from Independence Indoor Shooting. Before we get started, make sure you're following us on Instagram and Facebook at Range Minded Podcast. You'll find all the articles and videos we talk about in each episode. This is episode 134, where we talk about some current events and a couple of surprising facts and figures about the gun world from this year. Thanks for listening, and as always, we hope you enjoy episode 134 of Range Minded, the current events of the end of 2020. Hello and welcome to Range Minded from Independence Indoor Shooting. My name is Mark Long, and I am joined by
Steve in the flesh.
In person. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. How are you?
Great. And we are also joined by
Nick Hoffer.
Also in the flesh.
I am. We're all together today.
All together in person, and it's very nice.
It is.
And if it's a little more echoey, it's because we're in the big classroom.
But we can't say why.
For secret reasons.
I kind of like it in here. It's bright. I don't feel like we're in a dungeon this time. There's animals on the wall.
That's true.
There's a computer that's turned on behind Mark.
Yeah, you can hear the projector going as well. So, and you are also teaching a class today.
Yeah, I'm teaching a class tonight and tomorrow morning.
Yeah, that's what brings you into town, right?
Yeah.
What classes are you teaching?
Tonight is the range portion of the concealed carry, and tomorrow is basic pistol.
Very cool.
Fun.
Yeah, sounds like it'll be a good time.
I hope so.
And
it'll be fun for me, maybe not the students.
Well, hopefully you have a lot of students. Do you know how many you have?
Tonight there's 24-ish.
That's a fair amount.
That's a fair amount.
That's a fair amount.
Tomorrow I only know of 7, but there might be more in there.
Gotcha. Well, you never know. Some people sign up too, like the day before or whatever.
Yeah, and I really enjoy the basic handgun class. That's a ton of fun.
Yeah, it is. It's interesting to see the confidence grow in people really quickly once you teach them the right way to.
Do you have any spots left in that class? I could probably use those skills.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a spot in that class.
I just don't know if I have ammo for that class.
Yeah, I was going to say, where are people getting ammo for all these classes?
I think we have some set aside for the students.
Oh, there you go. That's smart.
The basic is only a box. It's just 50 rounds. Tonight's class, though, that's 100 rounds.
That's a lot of rounds to go through.
That's painful.
Yeah. So, well, I think you're going to be teaching more classes anyway because there's still a lot of guns out there and a lot more guns out there.
Man. And I should have pulled up the article. I was reading this morning about exactly how many guns are out there.
Well, we know that there are 5 million abouts new gun owners, right, in the country?
Roughly.
From March to now, which is a lot.
Yeah.
And
exponential numbers.
Yeah. So we thought we'd talk about a couple of current events, things that are going on that aren't about an election. Mm-hmm. I'm sure it'll probably come up when
we have one of those going on still.
I forgot all about it.
Yeah.
Old news.
Yeah. Geez.
But no, the NSSF, you sent an article, Steve, about the NSSF releasing the most recent firearm production figures and how many firearms were produced and all that kind of stuff. And I figured since you're a facts and figures guy, we could talk about it. And I have an article as well we could talk about and see if there's anything else going on in the ether of the gun world right now.
Yeah, which is a little bit of stuff happening.
Yeah, a little bit.
So for those of you that don't know what the NSSF is, and
slow down.
The NSSF, it's the National Shooting Sports Foundation. So they're the ones that put on SHOT Show every year, except for the last year and maybe the year before, and maybe the next few years to come. And who knows if ever again.
Oh, possibly. We talked about that.
Happen again.
We talked about that 2 weeks ago.
But but they do a lot of industry stuff. It's a lot of. So shooting ranges and gun stores can become members of the National Shooting Sports Foundation. And there's a lot of information and help and resources that they have, kind of backdoor politics, but there's no inside baseball. That's a better word for it.
Inside baseball. There you go.
Anyway, they did oh my gosh, why can I think? Every year they print a report out about all the stuff that's happened in the industry as far as firearms production stuff.
Yeah.
The annual report would probably be the actual term that it's used, oddly enough.
Yeah,
I'm obviously tired.
Do you need some coffee?
Does it sounds like I already drank a bunch of coffee?
Have my energy drink.
Well, I might have to go get one out of my truck. Sorry, I just drove here
just for this.
Yeah. Anyway. So in this annual report, there's a lot of stuff in the industry about how many firearms are manufactured, magazines, how many they think is in the public now. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And there's more than I thought.
Couple.
Yeah. I might be a recipient of some of these.
Well, probably is about 10 to 20%.
I think those numbers don't even reflect the ones that you own.
No, I'm pretty sure. And I'm willing to guess that these numbers are actually way lower than in reality.
Considering you buy every second that a Min 2 has ever created since their beginning of time, you probably have like 10,000 magazines from them.
I'm not going to lie. I was hoping to buy a box of M2 magazines when I got here today.
Do they have magazines?
Why you drove right past their shop
They
on
won't
the way
sell.
here?
They won't sell to you.
Not to you? I thought you. I thought you were a dealer.
They won't sell to Steve. They'll sell to anybody else, but they don't let him in.
They see me coming. They're like, "We're all out.
We're closed." Well, yeah, let's go over some of those facts and figures a little bit because there are a lot of numbers here and there's a lot to digest. And I think it does kind of reflect the state of the gun world right now. So,
yeah.
So read them off because you have it open.
I do have it open. You have it open too?
I'm reading the other article.
So in 2018, they say around 11.4 million firearms were manufactured. 11.4 million.
that's a lot.
That's all inclusive though. That's not just AR-15s. That's
Everything.
That's hunting
Handguns,
rifles,
shotguns,
handguns,
rifles.
shotguns.
Yeah. And firearms, I mean, that could be just receivers even.
Right. Anything that paid the excise tax.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, here says that approximately half of that 11.4 million were MSRs, AR-15s.
Yeah, one half of all the rifles produced and imported were
48%.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
And since 1990, there are an estimated almost 20 million modern sporting rifles in circulation today.
I have a feeling that number is low.
Probably, especially because it doesn't count the 80% ones like we talked about a couple weeks ago.
I still,
as well as
I would reckon there's 22 million out there.
Why do you think that?
Just my gut.
So my question, devil's advocate here. How are they going to find all 22 million of those if they do decide that those are no longer necessary for the general public to have?
They won't be able to get them all. There's no way.
No way. I don't think so either.
Because you're not even counting people that have access to CNC machines and blocks of aluminum.
That's true.
Yeah, or 3D printers for that matter now.
I bet you there are 10 million undocumented receivers out there.
Well, it's legal to make.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it.
So like I said with the 80% ones,
So I wanted to have this conversation. We're talking about 80%. I remember before 80% lowers were a big deal that I looked into constitutional firearms. Mm-hmm. Are you aware? You're familiar with that? So the constitutional firearm is and I'm probably wrong. It's been a long time since I've looked it up, but I believe it says that you're allowed to have two firearms that are unserialized as far as constitutionally. That was before 80% lowers and before polymer 80s.
Yeah,
that you could have firearms that were unserialized. I can't remember why I looked at this. Has got to have been 8-9 years ago that I looked it up.
So is that like manufacturing your own firearms legally?
That's what it was. It was manufacturing your own firearm, like in your garage, in your shop.
Yeah,
if you made it yourself, you could not have serial numbers on, like, I think it was like 1 or 2 firearms and be, as long as you made them. You couldn't transfer them to anyone. You couldn't do anything with them other than possess them yourself, which I believe that's how like a polymer 80 is, right? No, you can't transfer that or sell that.
I wouldn't be surprised, but I'm not aware for sure what the legalities is on that.
Yeah, I'm not sure either, but you can, like, that's why the 80%, like polymer 80 and the AR-15 lowers and stuff are, they don't have a serial number on it or anything like that because you can manufacture that, because that's what you're doing is you're manufacturing it to a finished product. You're just already 80% there.
So that's something I've never thought about before we had that conversation. And now I'm interested in probably doing some research into that because I know people that own 10 to 20 of those. Mm-hmm. And what is the laws on those? Is that the next pistol brace? Like, is that the next thing that is questioned on? Well, you can only own so many. So if you have 2, you can't. It's not legal.
For the sake of not getting into politics, I mean, there's rumblings that parts and pieces are going to go to the way of the dodo.
Like AR parts and really
anything online. You can't purchase anything online.
Yeah, I know about online, but I wonder if like your local shop can still carry them, right?
Well, if you couldn't buy them online, I would assume that they were going to make you have some sort of paperwork to get them.
To get the parts.
Because if they're just restricting it online, it means that they want to have some sort of verification of who's buying it and where it's going. So it would be my assumption that if you couldn't buy something online, that it would be like a 4473 type restriction. Maybe not that strict, maybe not a background check, but having to document the sale.
And what the serial numbers of the parts are. And
oh God, could you imagine if you had to serialize like a Ford Assist dust cover?
I wouldn't be surprised if
or a dust cover spring.
Yeah.
Or any of those pieces.
Micro stamped. I'm sure, well, we can what if everything, but
I don't want to what if any of it. I just want to what if it doesn't happen.
Yeah, that's a better what if.
Yeah, the big thing there was the modern sporting rifle thing, which is obviously like an AR-15 or its equivalent or whatever. That was something that kind of caught my eye, that, about half of them in circulation, there were almost 20 to 22 million, we'll say.
It says from 1990 to 1919, 19.8 million MSRs in the public hands.
Yeah.
And again, I say that numbers.
And just to correct Steve, he meant 2019, not 19.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Went back to Browning. Sorry.
Yeah. I was going to say they didn't have the AR back then.
Yeah.
Also, firearm and ammunition manufacturing.
I'm not the only one.
No, it's Friday. They talked about how many people are employed by the firearms industry.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And the money. It's 12,000 people in the U.S. are employed in one way or another by the firearms industry, which accounts for $3.9 billion in goods shipped, and an 8.7 billion rounds of all calibers and gauges were produced.
And most of those are in some dude's basement. He's hoarding them all.
Seriously.
That 12,000 employees seems low. I always thought it was more than that.
Well, look at when you go to SHOT Show. Now, this is just manufacturing, 12,000 manufacturing jobs.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't clarify. Firearms and ammunition manufacturing doesn't count for gun shops, and it probably doesn't count for like holster makers or magazine manufacturers.
They count as manufacturing?
Artisans,
ammo,
holster artisans.
Well, I don't know, because I would guarantee that there's more than 12,000 people who are making holsters at a small level. So,
oh sure,
like I know that for a fact. I have a list that has 5,000 holster makers on it, and they don't employ anybody.
Gotcha. Yeah, they must be talking about directly firearm and ammunition manufacturing. So, working for an ammunition manufacturer, or like working for Smith & Wesson in the factory, or for Glock or one of those or whatever. So,
well, it doesn't say.
It still seems low because Smith & Wesson's got to employ 2,000-3,000 people.
Could be.
Well, yeah. I mean, you go to what's the parent company? Smith. I forgot. Something outdoors.
Is it? It's not Vista, is it?
No, it's not Vista. I don't know. Well, even Vista's a good example. They own a ton of companies.
Yeah.
Yeah. It makes me wonder how many people are in the factories actually running and making the firearms. Yeah. Because maybe with automation there isn't as many as you'd think, but. They're definitely churning them out.
Well, I would say this: that when I worked for Tactical Solutions we had 55 employees, and that's they're a blip on the radar as far as manufacturing.
They're a micro company.
Yeah, so I wonder how many
That's just why it sounds low to me, but they're the experts, not me. Poll, you know how polls go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and what about like Hornady or like Winchester ammo manufacturing? Unless they just have a little small amount of people making a butt ton of ammo.
I'm going to have to do some research.
It's a lot of under the table work, it sounds like.
I'm wondering what, how many people Remington had before they folded.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I bet a majority of those people just rolled over into other manufacturers. So
you were talking about how are they... we're thinking about getting those 22 million modern sporting rifles. How do you think they're going to get the 71.2 million pistol magazines capable of holding more than 10 rounds, or the 79.2 million rifle magazines capable of holding at least 30 rounds?
But let's not even look at it like that. Let's think about if their tax on those magazines went through. Think of the number of income that they're going to make off of every one of those magazines.
If everybody paid their $200 per.
Well, if they know how many's there, so if they don't get in $1 trillion in tax from those magazines, they're going to know that hit the streets.
Well, they're going to find some of those magazines if they're not careful.
Well, on top of that, there's 434 million firearms in civilian possession in the U.S., according to the ATF Firearms Commerce.
And Idaho's probably 100 million of those.
We've got to be the most in the world. There's got to be more guns in the U.S. than the world combined.
Absolutely.
That's
probably
military.
yeah.
Well, that's some of the anti-gunners' argument is there's more firearms available in the United States than anywhere else.
I think the top like 3 combined.
That's an argument? That makes me want to live here even
That's
more.
called freedom. We also have a working constitution right now.
I actually read something about Kentucky and how they represent 1% of the population, but 6% of the firearm sales in the U.S.
Nice.
That was pretty impressive.
Yeah, I know Idaho's up there too.
Is that
I'm
where
sure.
you order your guns from?
Kentucky?
Yeah.
I have too many teeth. They won't ship to me.
We're just
Wow.
kidding. We're just kidding.
I really don't have that many teeth.
That was a joke. Steve has no teeth. They're all fake.
Well, and then one of the last facts and figures they have here is that the first 10 months of 2020, did you see how many background checks there were so far?
Yeah, I can't remember the numbers.
17.2 million.
Yeah.
So that you take 5 million new gun owners, and that's 12 million gun owners who probably bought more firearms. Or I guess that doesn't count for the rejected or...
Well, and whatever is rejected or nullified or whatever, there's multiples on that same 4473 as well. So
That's true.
because, I can buy 10 receivers on one 4473.
Right. Or 10 different guns.
Technically, there's no limit of how many firearms I can put on
You
a
just have to write it all
4473.
down on the 4473.
So basically, we're saying that those numbers are low.
I think these numbers are a little inaccurate, but they got to be somewhat close.
They're probably conservative estimates, because the other thing too is we're not thinking about the amount of private transfers that happened, maybe to a first-time gun owner. Maybe somebody had a friend who was trying to get rid of a gun just because there was either too many and they actually went through a lawful sale. That counts as a new gun owner or a firearm sale, and those can't be accounted for.
What I think would be interesting is to get on like Palmetto State Armory or somebody like that and pull up their upper receiver sales compared to their lower receiver sales. And
Yeah.
I mean, that could be interesting because I think you might get a little bit more idea of how many there really are out there.
I think we should just create a Facebook poll and ask people to tell us how many guns they own
And serial numbers.
and their address.
Yeah, and their address. And we have a buyback program available.
We'll
Yes.
keep them safe at the bottom of the lake.
I will store your firearms for 50 cents a month.
Or I will give you a $50 Texas Roadhouse gift card.
Wow.
I will do that right now. I promise you I would do that.
Wow, that's a Steve Zimmerman guarantee.
Largest steak franchise in the country. I love that place.
Yeah, I do too.
Well, and
So you're saying you want a gift card?
I'm pretty sure I could find a $25 firearm to trade for a $50 gift card.
making money.
That's fine because I could probably still make money on that $25 gun.
Yeah, the president of the NSF came out to say, too, that the modern sporting rifle continues to be the most popular rifle sold in America, with nearly 20 million in circulation, and it is clearly a commonly owned firearm that is being used for lawful purposes every day in America.
And that was a thumbs up to Heller right there.
Mm-hmm. And that's, I think that shows that the NSSF obviously is, keeping our rights at the top of mind,
I hope so.
which I think is cool.
I really do believe the NSSF and like what are some of the other pro-gun organizations out there?
Firearms Policy Coalition, I think, is another one.
The NRA.
Not the NRA.
Yeah, you know what?
Why am I the only one who's still a fan of the NRA?
So
I don't hate the NRA. I just am kind of pissed.
I haven't heard anything from the NRA in like a month or two. Like I haven't seen it on the news. Haven't seen it on anything.
Right now,
like,
they should be on everywhere. And why aren't they?
yeah, especially with all the new gun owners, they could get in front of everybody. But actually, most of the year, I don't think. Have you heard seen any stories from the NRA?
No.
The last story I heard from the NRA was when they were getting sued.
Weren't they going to go bankrupt?
Yeah, well,
They were getting prosecuted in New York, wasn't it?
yeah, there's some stuff going on. And here's the frustrating thing, and I can't remember. I remember hearing the statistic, but like the amount of NRA members that actually vote, there's not a lot of voters in the NRA.
Really?
Like that vote for political elections or that vote on the NRA stuff?
No,
I think
for
they'd vote in elections.
political stuff, like to actually get out and do stuff for a candidate.
Huh.
It's a small number that actually vote. I got to dig it up. I remember hearing that and I was aghast.
That's surprising. That's very surprising.
That
'cause
tells me that they're apathetic and lazy.
definitely lazy.
The members or the NRA?
Yes. I mean, I do know some NRA members that are like very active politically. I'm a life member, and
So if they go away, do we get our money for our lifetime memberships back?
no. Because, never mind. Let's just not go.
Because they spent it all on those
suits.
postcards that they sent me for the first 10 years.
Well, actually, so it's funny you mentioned that because I just pulled it up on the news and it says that the NRA settled, will pay a $2 million fine and will stop selling insurance in New York.
Yeah, there just needs to be a whole restructuring, but it'll never happen.
No, it's too big and too old of an organization,
It's
I think.
the oldest civil rights organization in the United States.
Right.
So you'd think they'd have an awesome track record for taking care of their membership, but
I don't know.
they need to fix it.
Yeah, we'll see.
Fix it.
I think that, USCCA is trying to overtake the NRA.
Yeah, I think so too. Same thing with firearms policy. And I mean, I think even the National Shooting
Second Amendment
Sports Foundation. Yeah, that's
Well, the USCCA has their own insurance now, their own training programs,
Yep.
they have way better materials for the instructors.
I'm getting mine up to date.
there you go.
Yeah,
they have that great book that we distribute at the concealed carry classes.
Yeah.
And their event every year is awesome from what I hear.
Yeah, I saw some of their stuff when I was in Terry's office because he just got certified with them, and he was because I was thinking about getting my NRA certification, and he was like, "If I would go with this one,
Yeah.
it's a little bit more expensive though, but
It's so much better though.
Yeah, I think you get some more curriculum out of it. And
well, I'll tell you what, the posters actually, there's an NRA one right over there. The poster boards that they give you
Yeah, look
are
how
a
cool
lot
that thing
more
is.
updated. That thing looks like it's from the 70s.
yeah, it looks like from a classroom in the 70s or the 60s.
Well, I could pull up some PowerPoints that I have from the NRA, and you'd be like, "Wow, this predates PowerPoint."
Isn't it a white background with black font, and that's about it?
Yeah, I went and oh man, I'm probably gonna get in trouble. I went and changed all the slides because it was so boring.
Yeah.
Trying to bring it up to date.
Yeah, they kind of missed out on it. We've talked about that before, but I thought another kind of interesting article on the NSSF, which was on that page, they have a whole page called Understanding America's Rifle, the Modern Sporting Rifle, and talks about all the different myths that people think about ARs or any other sporting rifle. It was really educational, I guess. I'm going to bookmark this page whenever anybody talks to me about.
So the NSSF went really heavy into the modern sporting rifle after the whole Sandy Hook thing.
Yeah, they were trying to. Well,
Yeah.
not just them. They didn't come up with the definition.
No, but they really, really put, because they were taking a lot of heat because it happened in the same state.
they're actually headquartered in.
In Newtown,
Yeah.
I think, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so they were taking a lot of heat. So they did a lot of education on the rifle and the uses of the rifle and why it's not an assault rifle.
Yeah, they actually go through this bullet point by bullet point on this page. Maybe we can post all these on our Facebook page. But I mean, they start right there saying the AR it stands for Armalite rifle, not assault rifle or automatic rifle. I mean, they just go bullet point by bullet point. They even get into since America's founding, civilian sporting rifles have evolved along with military firearms. The modern sporting rifle simply follows that pattern.
And the thing I really like about the NSSF and all these articles is, sure, there's membership for ranges and whatever, but this stuff's accessible to the public.
Mm-hmm. So it's right on the website.
You can jump on their website. You can read through all their articles. They're about education. That's what they're about, and it's awesome.
Yeah, and that's why I want to bookmark this page and say, if somebody ever says, hey, why we should ban assault rifles or why should we not ban assault rifles? Well, just read this, and maybe if you understand and educate yourself a little bit more, you'll realize it's not.
Hopefully they know how to read. Because I know a lot of them don't know how to comprehend.
Well, I can
that's
read
different.
it really slowly.
Yeah.
Reading and comprehension are not the same.
So I thought another interesting point on that was that they talk about the chambering of different sporting rifles from 22 long rifle all the way up to 410 shotgun.
Yeah, we actually had a full auto 410.
What?
Upper here.
What?
Well, the upper obviously wasn't full auto, but yeah, we were going to put it on our lower. It didn't cycle.
Yeah, I was going to say that would have been insane.
Yeah, how cool that would have been.
So I shot the, what was that shotgun that you had like the twist of the magazine? It was a cylinder and you twisted it. It was made here, the SRM.
Yeah.
The SRM shotgun. Mm-hmm. And I shot it when they had, it was full auto.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, they had an auto one when it first came out. I went out with those guys from Snake River Machine and we shot it. And it was right before it came out in the Call of Duty game. And that was really fun, but my shoulder was bruised for weeks.
Oh, I believe it. Yeah.
But you only have, I think it's 4 rounds in each tube, and you have 3 tubes. So you got to go boom, 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 and then twist it, and then boom, 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 and then switch it.
It'd still be a lot of fun.
It was a lot of shotgun shells.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think what we can take away from this, though, is that if you wanted to point somebody to some literature on, the truths and realities about firearms and firearm owners and AR-15s or any kind of firearm, you could go to the NSSF, which is National Shooting Sports Foundation. Again, the NSSF.org. Yep. A lot of cool stuff there. So
tons of good stuff.
But you know what? I'm just going to say that maybe it isn't like the end of the world and the Second Amendment isn't going to disappear, just like Steve says. Because...
Do you remember what I said exactly? I said it was not going to be the same as we know it today. And I still believe that.
I'm paraphrasing.
Well... Let Mark finish his statement, because I think he's going somewhere with that.
Well, just because there's a Gallup poll out that came out 4 days ago, and they found out that support for stricter U.S. gun laws is at the lowest level since 2016.
I wonder why that is.
I think it has to do with politics. I mean, we have to mention that right now.
Well, I think all gun control has to do with politics.
Well, now when I say politics, I think we talk about the 5 million new owners. Like, there's a reason why there's new owners. And of course, with all these new firearms owners, they're going to understand that, maybe the Second Amendment really has to do with protection of myself from tyranny.
Yeah, or from any sort of evil.
I think that a big push of the 5 million new gun owners is probably the fear of having to protect their property and stuff because of this pandemic that we're going through.
Well, and not only that, when they're talking about defunding police departments.
Exactly.
And so now they realize, well, it's really based on us. Now I got to do something.
So in the cities where, I don't know, what was it, Portland, California, where they're not sending the police.
Portland is not in California.
Well, I meant cities, and then I meant to say California. Portland, California, they're basically the same place.
I mean, it is basically
the same. But anyways, where they're not, someone's breaking into your home, let them have your stuff. We're not showing
They're
up.
they're not sending people out now.
So, yeah, we need to own guns.
And that's the funny thing is that people even who are against guns, that's the first thing that they go to and say that, well, I need to get one to protect myself and my family, like instantaneously.
Well, karate isn't good enough for you?
That's just what people do. I've
interesting.
seen article after article about people saying that's just,
It's interesting how those of us who said that when we didn't need to protect ourselves, but it might happen, when they said, we'll just call the police, and then they want to defund them, and now they want to have the guns too. Huh.
It's almost like they understand that there might be something different going on.
It's weird.
Yeah, I think people kind of get a reality check. So, but what's interesting is that it's still a majority of people, at least the people that they polled.
Yeah.
So, 57% in the U.S. Of people call for stricter gun laws.
But I also said beware of polls.
Well, they can definitely say whatever you want. So if you look at their graph on there, it said, they have the 3 different colors.
Because I never got asked if I wanted stricter gun laws.
Yeah, where are these taking place?
Probably Chicago, where they have the strictest gun laws, but they need more because the gun violence is
bad.
The
well, it
worst
comes
in the
across
country.
from Ohio,
Indiana.
That's what I said.
That's okay. It's far away.
Yeah. Well,
if you look at the graph, though, that you can kind of see since 1990, I think, is when they have it, 1990 to 2020. In 1990, it actually started off in at 78% of people who wanted more strict gun laws. And then the lowest point was, I think, 2011. That a lot of people, I think people were divided basically in half between keeping gun laws as it was or making them more strict. But there was also a significant percentage of people who wanted to relax gun laws.
Yeah. Well, and if you look at the percentage of people that want it less strict, I mean, it went up pretty high 2015 and then dropped again, then it's coming back up.
So something that interests me, and then I was talking to someone about the other, what happened to mass shootings this year?
Well, nobody's going to school and there's people are locked at home. And that's actually, they talk about that there hasn't been a major mass shooting in the U.S. since mid-2019.
I think that's Whoa.
Is that Las
Went
Vegas?
quiet. I think that's because President Trump put his fist down and just said no more mass shootings. We're not promoting that.
Maybe.
Yep.
Maybe not.
Well, I'm a blind follower. So.
Here's some tinfoil.
Yeah, everybody put your tinfoil hats on.
But also, how would an assault weapons ban work now? Because there's no way, like we talked about, you couldn't get the 22 million guns off the street. Also, the 70 million magazines. And I mean, I grew up during the assault weapons ban. I don't really remember it, but I'll tell you this. When they put that into place, the AR-15 was not what it is today. There was not the amount of manufacturers. There was not the amount of accessories.
There wasn't the industry.
There was not. Yeah, I mean, and the AR-15 created a whole new
after
niche
2004
in the firearms industry.
Yeah.
So how does that go away?
I think we talked about that before. But we had the same question. We didn't really have an answer to it. But I mean, you think about, like you said, okay, so there's 12,000 people in manufacturing just of firearms and ammo. You know of about 5,000 people making their own holsters. How many more thousands of people are making AR parts or, anything related to the AR?
Just like a muzzle brake. Like, okay, those numbers don't include the guy. They don't include Cody.
Right.
They're making a muzzle brake in his home shop.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a business, but they didn't add him into those numbers. So,
right, and that's how he makes his living.
Yeah, and he's making, and I don't know I know he makes more than this, but say all he's making is one muzzle brake, but he's selling $40,000-$50,000 a year worth of that muzzle brake.
Yeah.
So now he's done. But then he's not the only one doing it. There's probably 2,000-3,000 other people making just a muzzle brake.
Just muzzle brakes,
or making just this one, just a mag release for the AR-15. Like the amount of depth that it goes into with the manufacturing and the amount of people that affects, I think is more than the people that are affected by so-called gun violence.
Yeah. I mean, there's like a significant amount of people, and you'd have a lot of people out of a job, and what are they going to do? Not to say that they wouldn't be able to find something else, but it really does, I think, create more jobs and creates opportunities for people to go into business for themselves.
Well, and when you talk to the people in the firearms community, because it really is a community, you go to SHOT Show, so many people know everybody.
Right.
Like, it's not that huge of an industry to where, I mean everybody knows everybody somewhere. I mean, Joey, like, he talks about people, I almost work for Colt. Or, like, he knows all these people.
Yeah, or everybody knows somebody, yeah.
Yeah, it's an industry that is extremely kind to each other. Like,
it's very close-knit, for sure.
There's some backbiting, and there's some losers that are in the industry. But for the most part, like...
Thanks for talking about it.
Oh, sorry.
He's right here.
I know. I had to come out about it. Anyway, but it's a very close-knit community. So you think about 12,000 people that may lose their jobs or 5,000 people that may lose their jobs. That's going to impact the community quite a bit.
Yeah.
And, it sucks.
It's not good.
It's going to make a real big market for lever action rifles.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and just kind of switching gears over
3-round
to
lever action rifles.
Another fact is that I guess there still is there's a weak support for a handgun ban. So,
yeah.
But that doesn't say anything about magazines. It's really just talking about banning handguns themselves.
What I see is if there is any kind of ban coming through, it'll be like a reboot of the assault weapons ban. I don't think there'll be any registration right off the bat or anything like that. But it'll just be a huge reduction in manufacturing sales. And there might be same thing with the magazine ban. You'll be 10 rounds magazines for
I don't even know. I don't know that it would be possible for them to ban the possession of the AR-15s, but I think that's possible. I think they could regulate the living crap out of the manufacturing.
Yeah, new stuff. That's what happened in '94. Is it wasn't illegal to own one, but getting any kind of support, any parts, any new guns, not going to happen.
Wild. Well, and the other thing I just thought of too about online, if you can't buy parts or buy ammo or stuff like that online, that's another whole industry that's going to go up to nothing, because you're going to have how many businesses are there that have built their business on selling guns or selling ammo online? Did you find a spring?
I was thinking this might be.
Is that?
I thought maybe it was a pen at first, but no, I think that might have to do with the buffer retention spring.
I was going to say, it looks like an AR spring.
So what I wonder is when it comes to parts, accessories, like where do they draw the line on what parts and accessories? So that's all. It's all variable, but it makes me nervous because I sell my stuff primarily online. So does that affect me or does it not affect me?
Yeah, because what you make can be considered an accessory.
It's definitely an accessory, but do they want to take away the ability for you to carry around that firearm? So they say, okay, now you can't buy holsters online.
Well, I think you've already felt the ripples of that now.
Oh, absolutely.
So, I mean, you've seen your stuff get restricted. Your ads are taken down. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Well, the censorship on social media is not directed directly at me, but yeah, lately, like stuff that's not even that I could have posted a few months ago. Now it's getting like to the verge where they told me they're going to delete my Instagram account.
Yeah,
because I posted a meme from Step Brothers that said the name Joe Biden in it.
Interesting.
Well, one of my videos on YouTube that I put on years ago, and I haven't even looked at my YouTube content, just got age restricted
because of firearms.
Because those stupid little closed caption Hitler videos. Yeah, I had one about him building a range.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, and I thought it was hilarious.
Well, it's interesting too because it's not like Facebook and Instagram is just like straight up censoring or banning my content. Mm-hmm. So like the other night when I had that meme taken down, for 3.5 hours I couldn't use my account. I could go into my personal account, do whatever I wanted, send messages, upload pictures, because I have 5 accounts, so I was going through them. The only one was the Hoftac account, and it would say network error. Couldn't upload anything, couldn't see any of my pictures.
So maybe they just like disabled it for a while.
Yeah, and that's not the first time that happened. So I've been trying to run promotions for Black Friday, and they go into review, and then they sit in review for 3 days and then say, we can't upload this promotion. Instead of just denying it, they do that. And then the last one that got denied wasn't denied for firearms or anything. It was denied for political views or something that it said political. And I was like, what?
That's surprising.
Because I think I had some words in the post or something that was about like during these uncertain times or something, or during this election.
Really?
Yeah, because I used there's like keywords, like the word election. I think it was for those Trump trays. I put anything with the word Trump, even in the image, would have a censorship little thing on the bottom.
Well, and what's driving me crazy is to see the results of the election. The results have been certified. I don't care. I hear the news. I get what's going on.
Yeah, I think everybody knows what's going on.
But and you're not alone. Like anybody else in the industry.
I'm just lucky that they haven't deleted my account like they have multiple people that I know.
Yeah.
So I'm really playing it safe because I don't want to lose that ability to interact with my 15,000 followers on Instagram. So I'm just playing it safe for now. But if anyone out there is developing an app similar to Instagram, I would love to be in the beta testing because I'm ready to leave. Yeah. But I need it to be like Instagram, not Clapper, not Rumble, not Parler. I need it to be like Instagram with a gallery and without all the algorithms. I don't even care about running ads. I just want to be able to reach people.
Yeah. Well, I think you'll see something like that coming. Something that I heard, it might have been today, that actually made a lot of sense was like Facebook and Instagram and these, they are basically the telephone service of our day. Like,
oh yeah, that's good. That's a good way of looking at it.
When they say, well, you got to regulate. Well, you can't regulate a private company. Well, we went through the same dilemma 80 years ago, whatever it was or more, with the telephone company, right?
Right.
Ma Bell was too big. We had to break it up.
It's like, I think I brought this up a couple weeks ago. I was listening to the Joe Rogan podcast, and he said social media is now turning into a utility. Yeah. Just like you're saying, like the phone company, it's turning into a utility, and restricting certain access to certain people is now taking away their ability to communicate with people across the country.
And it really is.
And to see what is going on, because they've become, no matter what Facebook and Twitter says, they've become a news source, and now they're regulating their new. Then again,
they're turning into a publisher. Yeah,
the news is creating their own news. They don't investigate anything anymore. So what does it matter, I guess?
CNN is for sale if you're looking to buy it.
Yeah,
Do you know what's going to make me laugh is if Trump buys CNN.
The Cartoon News Network?
Because Trump's going to start a news network.
Yeah, but I think he should start the MAGA News Network.
Yeah, but he needs to buy CNN and then change it. Do you know how hilarious that would be?
This is what I want to see even if Trump wins, but if he doesn't win, I want to see this. I want to see the MAGA News Network, and instead of the Republican Party, I want him to start his own political party called the MAGA Party, because when I run for state senate, I'll run under the MAGA Party.
Well, one thing, and again, we don't really want to turn this into a political show. I mean, that's not what we are, but like him or hate him, he has definitely changed American politics. Good or bad or indifferent, he's definitely changed American politics.
Well, won't be the same.
I think that he opened the eyes to a lot of people who were not political to just look and see what was going on, and drew a huge light to the government.
Yeah. I mean, there's things I definitely don't like about Donald Trump. He needs to keep off Twitter. Like, there's things I hate about him, but there's also a lot of things he's done that I've never...
I'm just mad that he's still on Twitter. Why hasn't he moved over to Parler? I don't even look at Twitter anymore. Come on, dude.
Yeah, maybe he is on Parler.
He's not. I just tried to tag him yesterday in one of my posts. He's not on there. His son, his daughter, they're all on there, but he's not on there. He's still posting on Twitter and getting censored. Like, just move over.
I don't know. Anyway.
Well, do you guys have anything else firearms news related? Those are the two big things that I had.
Black Friday's coming up. Is there any deals that you've seen?
We probably should maybe even bring that up, because it is, well,
I mean, they're doing
Black
deals
Friday's
all month, but
Black Friday is always a big deal, right?
Yeah.
And I showed Mark some of the stuff that the store has set aside for Black Friday, and that's not even all of it. I could show you another part of the store that is ridiculous. So we have product here that we're ready for Black Friday.
Yeah,
come check out what we'll have on Black Friday. And
I think nationally, as far as gun stuff, Black Friday is going to be kind of a big deal this year.
So is the store doing in-store sales, or is this going to...
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff.
So you can come down to the store on Black Friday.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, maybe I'll come over for it. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, could be.
It's a nightmare.
Actually,
but it's kind of fun.
You know what? I might come down here and just hang out and talk to people.
It's fun.
Like,
see what's going on. See that could be fun.
Yeah.
We could do a live broadcast on Black Friday.
We could.
That'd be chaos.
That'd be mass chaos.
Can we just pull random people and interview them?
We've done it before.
Yeah.
Yeah. We would have had an expo this year, and that's what we would have done.
So, all right. Well, we should, on the next show, we should talk a little bit about Black Friday.
Yeah.
What's going on.
Yeah, because I imagine you probably got some ideas coming up for your stuff.
I got some stuff coming up. I also have some stuff for the listeners and the store. So
Yeah, that'll be good. So we'll do that next time. And but if you want to get a hold of us now, podcast@iishooting.com or Facebook and Instagram @rangemindedpodcast. Nick, where can they find you?
So you can find me on Instagram @Hoftac Industries, and now on Parler @Hoftac.eo.
And I've had a hard time getting used to Parler, but I am on Parler.
Because it's like Twitter, and me and you are not Twitter fans.
I am not a Twitter guy.
But I will say I'm starting to figure it out. And
it's confusing.
I would rather be over there than Facebook. So
really, well, I guess we better make the jump.
I'll give you a rundown on how I use it, but
get a primer on it. There you go.
Yeah, I'm gonna change my Parler name.
Teach the old dog new tricks.
Yeah.
So cool. Well, thanks for listening. We'll talk to you next time.
Be safe. Hey, take somebody shooting, or at least take them dry firing,
or point them to the NSSF page. Yeah. So thanks for listening, guys. Talk to you next time.
Be safe.
Thanks for listening to Range Minded. Find us online at Range Minded Podcast on Facebook, or send us an email at podcast@iishooting.com. We're always happy to get feedback, episode suggestions, whatever you want to send us, really. And be sure to subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, and pretty much wherever else you get your podcasts from. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.